Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to talk about a quick piece of news that came out of the Rick Owens camp. Apparently, he is no longer going to be doing seasonal tags on clothes. I saw this pop up in the Rick Owens subreddit, and there's been a bit of a discourse about it. I guess it was a rumor at first, but now it's been officially confirmed. I just got one question. What am I supposed to do with all these, Rick? Useless. Actually, now that I think about it, they're rare now, so if anyone wants a XL black rib tank tag, hit me up. Luxor, that's a good one. $50, you know, I'll make you a deal. No, but it's kind of a weird piece of news. I mean, I'll read the press release or whatever that they came out with, but it's kind of done in the name of sustainability. And I want to approach it in good faith because I think there's some people that are like, this is BS, which it might be. But there's also some people who are like, hey, this actually is a small but correct step in the right direction. So the press release reads, our labels have been hand-stamped in our village for the last 20 years by Georgia Malavasi, who recently retired after training a new team to take her place. Hand-stamped labels were one of the things I didn't want to change when I started producing my first collections industrially in Italy, and I will continue this tradition as long as this label exists. That sounds contradictory. Starting this season, we have stopped stamping the name of the seasonal collections on our labels. Okay, so maybe they'll still do hand-stamped labels, but they won't be seasonal. The names of the seasonal collection on our labels in an effort to avoid contributing to the cycle of fashion disposability. No expiration date. As a company, we will continue to work towards further sustainable practices each season. We still have a ways to go, but we can all start somewhere and aim higher. So, I think part of the problem with this statement is it's kind of nebulous and doesn't do a good job explaining what it is that they're talking about. And maybe that's the intention, because they maybe don't want to admit to certain things that the luxury industry engages in, that they've engaged in for, I don't know, a number of years. So I want to dive into the comments a little bit here and just kind of respond to them. So I'll start with a positive comment. To counter some comments here, I think folks might still use season as a proxy for quality, especially folks who are big fans or collectors. For example, I have level tees from multiple seasons, as well as some sweatshirts, and quality subtly went down, perhaps, a different cotton production a couple of years ago. I would definitely be more likely to purchase a level tee from an older season than a current one. They feel much nicer and softer. Although I don't think cost cutting was the intent of stopping stamping the season, this does have the effect of making it much harder to understand quality as a function of changes to factory processes. You know, I started by saying this is a positive comment, but it really isn't. It's a defense, but it's not a good one, because it's basically saying like, yeah, they are doing this so people don't use the season as a stamp of quality and avoid purchasing new I mean, really, it's kind of the opposite of sustainability, because truly sustainable practice would be to shop used stuff or stuff that's already been produced as opposed to always buying the new thing. And if they're saying that, oh, the newer stuff is lower quality, so people should be seeking out the older stuff, that ain't sustainable. Now, the other thing that I've seen some people say is, and this has been a rumor for a long time, I'm sure you've heard of it. I think Burberry were the ones who were caught doing this, but a lot of fashion houses will burn their old stock. It's a really crappy practice. I understand why it happens, but basically the idea is like, oh crap, we didn't sell enough, whatever, this type of jacket. We can't discount it too heavily or it'll cheapen the brand. We can't give it away to homeless people or whatever, because that would certainly cheapen the brand. My God, can you imagine? So we're just gonna burn it and dispose of it that way. That way no one can have it, in an effort to maintain the luxury status of brands. And like I said, I think Burberry were the ones who were caught doing it, but it's kind of been considered that it's an industry practice. I think it's, I don't know, this is just wishful thinking. I don't know, crap. But I think it has cut down somewhat. I mean, there are people in the comment section saying that like you can find Rick Owens old seasons on Ukes, and I've seen that too. Like stuff will just sit up on Ukes for a long time. But if Rick is saying that they're trying to cut down on that, like, oh, we didn't sell enough of this kind of t-shirt or this type of jean in this season, we're gonna keep it going and just keep it in stores and no one will really be able to tell that's an old season because it doesn't have the seasonal tags on it. I kind of get that. And that would be a reason for them to be kind of vague about it, because that's them admitting like sometimes stuff doesn't, it would be them admitting to a lot of bad things. Sometimes stuff doesn't sell, sometimes we have to destroy old stock, etc. That being said, Rick Owens has always had this kind of vague poking at the edges of sustainability, which I respect. All fashion houses do. It's something that they should make an effort to do. But there are certainly other things that they could do that would make a much bigger impact. One of them, and some people pointed this out, is the gosh dang tote bags. I mean, I don't know if you've ever bought anything. If you buy things from like other retailers, they don't usually send you a tote bag. But if you buy anything from Rick Owens themselves, they'll give you a tote bag no matter what. Big, heavy cloth tote bag that, like, I gotta be honest, I got a bunch of them. I don't know that I've ever used them. First of all, I have a mental block because I'm like, do I want to shove a bunch of crap in here that could leak all over my nice Rick Owens tote bag? And then on the other hand, I've got this tote bag I'm never using, so what's the point? But I read somewhere, and please take this with a grain of salt because it seems impossible to me. Like, it's a thing that I'm like, that can't be true. But I read that actually reusing tote bags, cloth bags or whatever for like your groceries or whatever is actually more harmful to the environment than just using the thin plastic bags that they have. And it has something to do with the amount of like the carbon footprint it takes to like harvest the cotton and spin it up and dye it and put it through the whole factory process and ship it, that it actually has a worse carbon footprint than just letting these plastic bags decay in a landfill for all time. Look it up yourself, because I still try and use reusable cloth bags, but man, that's a depressing thing if true. So if that's the case, Rick, just stop doing the dang tote bags. I mean, again, in the comment section, somebody pointed this out. People don't even want them. Like, I could see getting like one nice Rick Owens tote bag and then be like, all right, I'm good. I don't need 7 of these things. Also, they're monstrous if you get a big, piece. So here's somebody speaking to this. Whenever clothing pieces get unsold, they get burned so that they don't get resold cheaply or sent to counterfeits. Other people counter this by saying Rick stuff ends up on ukes, not in a furnace. I've seen, somebody said they saw a Chanel dress in the store that was from 2018. So yeah, I mean, I think some of these places have just bucked the trend of like burning stuff. I hate to say it, but the OCD collector in me will probably not buy as much anymore. That's silly. I think it's about not having to discount recurring pieces. Without a season label, unsold stock can quietly roll into the next season. That could be too. So there's a bunch of reasons that this could be going on, and very few of them do I think are good, sustainable practice things. Somebody else points out, and this is an interesting, if true, thing, that they think Rick is gearing himself up to retire, and this would be just a way of like starting the process of making the label kind of evergreen. And it's just like, yeah, we're just going to have these basic pieces. I've wondered it myself, like when that's going to happen, because he's not going to be around forever. I mean, he's no spring chicken, as much as I'd like him to be, and he keeps churning stuff out, which is awesome. But at what point does Rick Owens, the label, become divorced from him and just becomes this thing that keeps going? I mean, you see it with tons of other, it's not like Cristobal Balenciaga is still at the helm or anything, or Yves Saint Laurent, or even, I mean, God rest his soul, Alexander McQueen. I mean, that, obviously keeps changing hands with creative directors, Virgil Abloh, even though Off-White's not in a great position. But at what point does the brand Rick Owens continue from him? And is it going to be the kind of thing that's like, we're just going to release Ramones every year and level tees and Creech cargos and pod shorts and things like that? It'll be a sad day when that happens, I think, but it's understandable. I mean, some people do just treat the brand like that. So, I don't want to belabor this point too long. I just did think it was a very interesting thing. What do you guys think of the situation? Does it bother you that the seasonal tags aren't going to be included anymore? It's such a subtle, minor thing, but the implications of it are kind of interesting to me, and I don't know what it means. It's fine. It's not a bad thing, other than the fact that, like, of all the things that it could imply, I'd say like 9 out of 10 of them are kind of negative, either shady business practices or not actually sustainable, or hinting at the fact that they haven't been sustainable for years. So let me know in the comments, does this bother you, or is this a big nothing burger? But the one thing I do know is that you should subscribe to this channel. It's extremely important that you subscribe. I think we can all agree on that. But in any case, I hope you guys have a good one, and that's all for today. Peace.